Good morning and welcome to the MTK podcast. I am MTK on the MIC. It is Friday, December 29. Just 2 days left in this year of 2566. Soon 2567 on the BE, the Buddhist era calendar. I guess for you guys it'll be 2020, 4, something like that? 2025, 23. And we have an election. It's going to be an interesting year. Now, you may not know this, but next year is going to be possibly per capita and even in percentages of maybe even in real numbers, the most democratic year in the history of our planet. Now, how can that be, you say? Well, I'll tell you how it can be. There are going to be more elections, democratic elections, held in more countries on this planet next year than have ever happened at one time. There are elections everywhere. Now, for the last 25 years, I covered elections in the United States, and also as an internationalist, I reported on elections that were happening in other countries, mostly to Americans, right? Like on the radio. Americans don't get good education in schools about geography and history and culture of other nations. It's part of the propaganda. The whole way you keep Americans kind of dumb and afraid to go anywhere outside and push the exceptionalism idea, the idea that they are the best and so they have to stay on their city on the hill, which is all nonsense. Every single bit of that is nonsense. The USA is not the greatest country in the world. It is a manufactured corporation made by white Europeans who came here and genocided everybody, enslaved others to work for them, and built a society that they wanted that is racist, profoundly and deeply racist, and holds white culture above all other culture. It is white supremacist. Its ideas are totally to build a place for them after they had overcrowded Europe, and they considered everybody else to be heathens so they could be killed or enslaved. That's what the USA is. It's a corporation. And it utilizes language about freedom and democracy, which it, quote, invented. The idea of separating themselves from a king, right? The independence that started the Republican revolutions. In other words, revolutions all over the place after that. France and other nations within their cultural frame of reference is probably the way to say that. We have to reconcile this. We have to talk openly and honestly about the history of the United States, not only to each other as Americans, but to the world, because what we're doing is lying. We're walking around the world telling everybody how it's the greatest country in the world and we invented all the great things, and we're going to every country and saying, look, our stuff is so much better, do it our way. And that has been going on now for 50 years, since the end of the Second World War, and it has turned into a great failing. There's more plastic everywhere because of us. There's more garbage everywhere because of us. There's more oil everywhere because of us. There's more pollution everywhere because of us. There's more war everywhere because of us. Directly, the United States, us. And we stand here saying we're the best and the rest of the world is garbage. And since I can remember, since Jimmy Carter's time, when he was president, we've been monitoring elections around the world. Can you believe that? We've been going around the world acting like we should be monitoring elections, even after we had the biggest scam of an election in front of the entire world in 1999. Okay, look, the Trump thing is a joke because you guys are getting distracted. You white people who are Proud Boys and so on, who are also excited about Trump, you love Trump so much and you think he won the election and the change. That's not real. The first major stolen elections happened a long time ago. This has been going on and on and on and on. The Nixon people thought Kennedy stole it, you know? The biggest example in front of everybody's eyes, everybody got to see it, was Bush, Cheney, and Rove, 1999. They forced the election into a closed-door secret session of the Supreme Court, and they named the president behind closed doors. Now, if that is not the height of fascist authoritarianism, I simply don't know what it is. And why? Because we rushed everything. Oh, well, we have to rush the election results. We have to rush it. Oh, it's not a tie. It can't be a tie. We can't have a recount. Da, da, da. We build everything up all year long, get this speed going, and then on the night of the election until the night of the certification, it's just insanity. That last month and a half of the year, and everybody's fighting and going crazy, and then suddenly there's a new president. It's a scam. The idea that we have the best elections has been a scam. And so nobody believes in it anymore. I certainly don't. Since 1999, I have lost belief. And why wouldn't I? And one of the biggest reasons why is, as I've said over and over again, MTK is a pacifist. I am a pacifist. I seek to create American pacifism. That's what I want to make. I'm tired of the $500 billion plus military budgets. I'm tired of selling machines of war to everybody in the world and baiting other people into fights. I'm tired of the entire attitude of the USA that has gotten bloated and obnoxious. I want peace. I want us to lead the world in peace. And by that I mean we have got to stop engaging in illegal foreign wars that are for the benefit of our corporate interests. It's got to end. It's so nakedly obvious to everybody in the Americas, for sure, the United Fruit Company and everything else. We have done nothing but wander through the Americas, destroying anybody who's not friendly to us and our companies. And we wonder why they have distaste for American policy. Then we just choked everybody out. And now the Chinese are capable of doing the same. So what was the point of any of that? Look, there's an old Koan from the Mumonkan, the Gateless Gate, that's about soldiers coming to see a monk. And I'm going to end today with that. So the idea is not to whip others or yourself into fights, but rather to try to achieve peace. Humankind has to believe that we can achieve peace. We can achieve peace. We've achieved everything else that we're so amazed by. How come every time someone starts talking about peace, what happens is we just say, oh, no, that's not achieved. There'll always be war. War's always been. As long as there's been people, there's been war. They just repeat over and over and over again, ad nauseum, everything that makes us continue to have fights, wars, struggles, to pit one people against another. I'm reminded of the Chinese Koan, I guess you could say, from the Mumon, well, what we call the Gateless Gate, I guess. The soldiers all come to the monastery. They're marching across the nation, right? And they come to the monastery because they need to rest, and they've been marching a long, long way. And they bang on the monastery door. Well, they probably don't even have to do that. They come to the monastery, and the monks come out to meet them. And they say, we are marching across the country to fight the big war. The soldiers are coming from the other side of wherever, and we're going to go fight them. We need to stay here tonight. We're commandeering your monastery. The monks quietly say, yes, come in, come in. We'll give you all rooms. We'll tell you we eat at this time. Come down and you can eat. So they get them all situated into barracks of a sorts. The men are all set up, and then the officers say, all right, we'll go down. You men will follow. They give the order of command. And the commanding officers go down to the where the monks eat. And they, start to get in line with others to see what's going on there. And there's a simple gruel, a very simple gruel, like the one I had in Thailand recently at that very inexpensive hotel where I stayed. And they're just slopping this gruel into bowls, slop, and then a spoon, and they hand it to you. And each monk quietly takes his bowl and goes and sits down and begins to eat. While the general of the army standing there says, what is this? We are the soldiers who are fighting for the nation, and you give us this to eat? And the monk says to him, we are the monks who are fighting for the souls of all humanity. You will eat what we eat.